My name is Yaliwe Clarke, and I always say my soul's home is Zambia. That is where I grew up. I am definitely a teacher, and one of the things that I teach a lot about is feminism and African versions of African feminism in relation to peace building processes that are intertwined with security systems and development processes. So that's a big part of who I have become. And I also have some skills in conflict resolution and peace building, which bring me into the sphere of facilitation work. Facilitation not only in terms of adult learning processes, but facilitation that enables dialogue to happen. Dialogue processes that are very important for shifting tensions and conflicts, whether we're thinking within feminist organizing spaces or outside that. But I must say most of my facilitation, conflict resolution, thinking and work has been in relation to feminist topics and also feminist organizations, networks and communities. And I think it's a very important session for any leadership institute, feminist leadership institute, because it provides an opportunity to make links between our personal lives and how those are intertwined and inevitably entangled in social systems. And that's important to any feminist analysis. So we often say the personal is political. So locating oneself in relation to the broader society is a big part of building and creating and understanding one's own feminist politics, one's own version of understanding how social systems operate and how, particularly for feminism, patriarchal systems operate in our everyday lives and how that speaks to the broader system. So there's that, that starting these feminist leadership institutes from the personal and expanding that analysis back and forth and not necessarily linear is a nice starting point. The other point of the personal development theme is to encourage people to think about what dynamics within their own lives are needing attention, because the very nature of feminist work is that we're in resistance to, we are trying to change very difficult things in society. So there's the tension within in the realization that I am going against social norms, especially social gendered norms that might be intertwined with economic systems and colonial history. So you're trying to go up and against and change quite large things that people take for granted as normal. And that means that there will be that extra load on oneself. And to have that introspection to understand what is that. It's often experienced as pain or burnout or anxiety or stress. So we're wanting participants to be able to take care of that aspects of themselves so that they are able also to understand how transforming themselves is essential to social, political, and economic transformation of society. What type of processes will help us understand what's going on internally and relieve ourselves of that pain and tension and vision, think about what do I need to do in my own life in order to be a full human being. That's a radical feminist position to keep alive in how we do our social justice change work. So the personal development session will ask us to think about how we are doing, and inevitably as we will come across uncomfortability, pain, trauma that happened in the recent or distant past when we were younger, and we offer opportunities for people to process that psychosocially and think about feminism as needing that attention, which inevitably will be some kind of healing, some kind of ensuring that there is care taken of the body, of the mind, of the soul in your own life, not only in the communities that you're seeking to change. And we found that that's very important. We're often out there seeking to change society, and there's very little time or very little attention or encouragement to look inward and outward simultaneously. So it's very important that people start from where they are, understand what it is they're facing, are given skills and tools, and we learn from each other in order to then say, okay, what is possible collectively. It's Akina Mama, what Africa calls faculty. That's like the teaching team, leading a certain theme or topic within each of the leadership institutes. And I first came on board as a teacher person, a member of faculty in 2022. And I remember distinctly, that was such an exciting one for me, and they've all been exciting. And that was the first time. So I had heard about these leadership institutes, but I'd never gotten the opportunity to teach. So I think the first thing was that, wow, I get to be part of co-creating this particular long history, since 1996. And then what I found very fulfilling about the leadership institutes is that, of course, it's an adult learning process. However, it's also an adult learning process that's linked to the possibilities of people making changes via the organizations and networks they've been involved in. So I know for sure that when I'm teaching, I'm not going to, it's not just a classroom experience. It's actually a classroom, it's experience of group learning that's going to result in new ideas being formulated into action with the support of Akina Mama Afrika. So that's exciting. When I give an exercise, say we have a scenario that we put to the team, I look at the participants, where are they from, what are their contexts, what sort of themes have they focused on, what's their age, and then I craft exercises and case studies that are close to their realities. And that makes it even more exciting because people speak from what it is they've seen in their communities, what they're experiencing, what they've tried, and there comes a kind of learning that I think is like experimental and exciting because it actually means something might change in what people can do in their spheres of influence where they're working or where they're linked. And Akina Mama follows up with that. So that's what I find really interesting. With the last two sessions where I focused on personal development, this one and the previous one, what I've really liked is that we get the opportunity to think about what healing could look like within feminist movements. What sort of healing practices could be possible? Recent research has found that we haven't quite come to understand how to integrate that significantly in the kinds of networks, communities, institutions where we are in as feminists, right? So I get to read widely and draw on lessons, literature, praxis, both that Akina Mama is trying out, but also in my own conflict resolution, feminist peace building, dialogue processes. I get to integrate that, and the team gives me the space to pick that what I think is appropriate. That's very exciting from a teacher's perspective, because then with the participants, we can iterately, creatively try out what is needed for the participants that come to the institutes for their particular realities, for who they are in the world.